What's good? What's good? What's good? So I'm about to go to bed, so this is gonna be a real quick video. Real quick video. So cool. There's a lot of things I've been thinking about today, and most importantly is the fact that all of us we're living in a simulation, man. Now when I say that, when I say simulation, what do you think of? Because more often than not, when you people, anyone hears the term simulation, an idea pops into their head. Maybe it's the Matrix, maybe it's AI, maybe it's something else. But when I said that word, a certain thought popped into your head. And that is the exact simulation I'm talking about. So, when we hear things, we have an immediate knee jerk reaction to them. So, certain people with strong political and ideological beliefs, if you say something which goes against how they've been programmed, their first response is to just flip out, just go mad. They'll go crazy on you, just start talking rubbish. Because when they hear things, they're trained to have an emotional reaction to words. So, for instance, if I speak about a juicy chicken with lime drizzled over it, roasted with garlic, onions, you're gonna have an emotional reaction to that. You're gonna react to those words. Now, of course, we're all different, and if you're a vegan, now if you're a vegan, you won't have such a positive reaction. You'll still have one though, but it won't be a nice one. You might even have an angry reaction. It might even aggravate you, the fact that I mentioned chicken. You might try and lecture me about how all animals have life and they're valuable, they're precious. And I don't disagree with that. What I disagree with is you just moving crazy to me when I just brought up food. But yeah, man, people, we all have reactions to words. No matter what we think we are, how stoic we believe ourselves to be, when we hear a word, we have an immediate reaction. And this reaction, it's not us. Who is it? What is it? It's the subconscious part of our brain. Specifically, because I hate the word subconscious actually. It's one of the words I hate the most because it's just abused and used by pseudo intellectuals who don't know how to define stuff. So, before I go off into a rant, just to finish off the point, yeah, chicken, when you hear a food, you have a visceral reaction to it because as you were trained as a young child, when you heard certain words, you would get certain outcomes. So your body speed runs the process and takes you straight to the reaction without the actual experience because your brain is a predictive program machine. Anyways, what I was gonna say is chicken, chicken, mangoes, apples, sweet things. If I say sweet fruits, you have a positive reaction. If I say maybe licorice or too salty or something like that, you will have a negative reaction. So, just like that, the human mind is so easily manipulated. You know, we think we're thinking, but it's really our subconscious mind. And now, let me tell you why I hate the word subconscious. So I've already said that it's used by a lot of people who don't know how to define stuff, so they call it, oh, it's a subconscious mind. Like whenever they can't define a specific part of the ego, they call it the subconscious, which is ridiculous. Because then your ego, your conscious mind becomes you, and everything else in reality that isn't you becomes your subconscious mind, which from a philosophical perspective, if you think about that, it's very, very interesting. And I could speak on hours about the truth behind that claim itself. But from the perspective I'm speaking on now, the point I'm trying to make is people who are unable to define things, they like to use filler words. So yeah, the subconscious mind, I don't like that word. Please don't comment that in the channel. I might just dislike your comment, something like that. But yeah, people they use the term subconscious to describe that which is not obvious or on the surface. Now, most of our reactions, now we think that we're acting in free will, but most of our reactions are just knee-jerk subconscious mind, actual subconscious. By subconscious I mean the reptilian mind, which is the amygdala. So if you're walking down the stairs at night, say you've got two floors, a couple floors or something, or you're walking down any stairs, you hear a slamming sound, you get startled. That is your amygdala firing. Now, most people, when they're living day to day life, moving about, hearing words, when they're communicating with people, they hear certain words, and these certain words activate their amygdala and turn them into a psychopathic Karen, a crazy NPC. So, an NPC is just someone who they're not thinking, they're having knee jerk reactions to stimuli. So, essentially, they are an AI because they don't think for themselves. I'm gonna say something which might be controversial, but the average person, and I'm not excluded from this whatsoever, none of us are really, unless we put in the actual time to erase the biases which cause this, what I'm about to say. But most of us, we're just NPCs. We're just downloading stuff that we see. Like, we'll walk down the street, we'll see an ad for a new phone, and then a month later, we're talking to our girlfriend or our boyfriend if we're female, and we're like, "Oh, I've been thinking about buying an iPhone. What do you think about that, babe?" And then they're like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." Meanwhile, you two both take the exact same bus to work. You see the exact same advert, and you're both getting programmed in the same way. It's crazy, and you'll think to yourself it's an original belief, but it's really not an original belief. You know, every thought which comes into your mind, well, most thoughts that come into your mind, they're not thoughts. You're not thinking. You're literally not thinking. Like the thought that came into your mind, like as you listen to someone speak, you're not thinking. It's unless you've developed the skill, it's pretty much impossible to learn how to think while listening. The same way you can't really eat or drink, you can't drink while talking. Like you can't swallow while talking. It's the same thing. You can't give while taking at the same time. You can't push and pull at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean you can, but you know what I'm saying. Right, right, right. So yeah, it's just mad to me that we're not actually thinking as much as we think we're thinking. So we're not thinking, like we're not thinking at all, to be honest. Like if you think about what is it today? It's a bit late for me, so it's basically Friday. So it's Friday, it's the last work day of the week, and then you've got the weekend. Think about the last 5 days. Now, how were your last 5 days? Were they good? Were they bad? Were you happy? Were you sad? So the important thing that I want you to pick up is that what sticks out to you about how your week's been so far? Happiness, emotion, maybe something you saw. Now, something very important is the fact that when you're trying to recall something, there's not much that you remember, right? For instance, if you like, what did you eat for breakfast 2 months ago? Exactly 2 months ago. So 60 days from today, what did you eat? You don't know. The mind is a machine and its memory doesn't go that far back, so it can't remember that far back. But on a 7 day timescale, on a week, I'm sure even if you try to remember what you were doing, what you were thinking of, you can't because it was nothing substantial. It was just mindless dopamine. And I say this on most of my videos. I'm going to keep saying it until you guys get it, until I get it, until all of us get it. Dopamine, mindlessly chasing dopamine will not get you to your ultimate goals in life. And the ultimate goal of life is not dopamine. That's propaganda, my friend. That is propaganda. So, yeah, if you try and remember what happened this last week, you will probably find out it was a bunch of mundane things that you were programmed to do based on external stimuli. So, what does that tell us about the human mind? That tells us that we are essentially NPCs. And this is the main point I want to bring with this video. We are all born NPCs and we learn consciousness through experience. So a baby learns through mirror neurons. When they see their mother picking something up, they learn to do that. They see their father walking, they learn how to walk. We learn by copying and pasting what we see with our eyes into our mind, and from our mind through our mind into our spine and thus nervous system. That is the process. It goes in through our sensory organs, into our brain, and into our body. So we are essentially at all times just digesting. We're just digesting what has already been created. Like even on a material level, the food that we eat is just that which was already created for us by nature. Nature creates food, we eat it, we consume it, we use its energy to move around. We run out of energy, then we need to do it again and again and again. And it's just a incessant, never ending cycle of consumption. And this is the main point of this video that I want to drive home. We are NPCs unless we put in the effort to not be NPCs. But most of us won't because it's very tedious. And the way the brain works is the more we do something, the harder it is for us to not do it. And since most of us are, I'm not sure you guys' ages, maybe you can comment below under this video, let me know what you think. But most of us are between, I'd say, well, we're adults. I don't think there's any 10-year-olds watching this type of content. They're too busy watching Roblox or Minecraft. But yeah, most of us are adults and we think we're thinking for ourselves, but really and truly we're just copying what we see. So what I want everyone to do who's watching this video right now, make sure for your Friday, because I'm making this video on a Friday night, early Thursday night, Friday morning. So if you see this before work, make sure as you react to the day, you're actually thinking, you're cognitively, you're cognizant of what you're doing, you're actually holding your thoughts captive. So when you think something, you get an emotion and a feeling. You're not being a Karen, you're not just reacting out of that feeling. You're really processing it, thinking if it's you or something external. So if it's a thought from your mind or a thought which was programmed into your mind. Because remember, my friend, we are all NPCs, and the goal of life is to actualize real free will. And that is free game.